I think we can just do this like on the fly.
Yeah, it's all, we did our best vids that way, man.
Dave, the raw food trucker, man. There is a lot of people on this channel that started out here because of your videos, and they've stayed around for the recipes and stuff. But tell us how you're doing, bro.
I am doing great, and guys, it is my honor and privilege to be here on Dan's channel and to hang with Dan. And Dan and I, throughout the years, and it has become years, isn't that a trip?
Yeah.
You know, but we really just, yeah. The one thing we've always known about each other is the love we have for each other. There's a brotherhood here that is so deep and so heartfelt and centered and spirit-filled. And, I mean, it doesn't make any difference where we are in the world, you know, organic, raw, vegan, baby. Yeah. I remember I felt Dan's heart when I was in Ecuador this last May. I mean, I literally stopped in my tracks and was like, whoa, Dan's hurt a little bit. Poof. Start sending that brother some energy, that brother some love. So it can be transferred and transmitted throughout the world, believe it or not. You know, a lot of people say, well, you know, there are different religions and you pray, you can do this or that. Well, I believe in something that I call the living life force, and I truly believe that the living life force is a part of something that flows through everything that we're connected with: the earth, the wind, the rain, the universe, matter, antimatter, space, you know, vacuum. But when I discovered it was when I was almost dying, and this couple came into my truck named Dave and Udit Whiting, and they were like, I told them, I said, you guys will probably be one of my last students. I'm dying, I'm getting ready to check out, I've had a good life. They were like, dude, we know it's a diet you can go on, you can eat all you want, you can just stuff yourself, no problem, man. And the weight will come off, and these diseases will be gone, and it'll heal you. Your body, you do this diet, and you will be healed. At the time they were telling me this, I had colon cancer, late stage 1 or early stage 2. My kidneys were leaking protein so heavy into my blood system that a doctor had actually talked about either letting the kidney shrink up or shrivel up, or cutting the left kidney out. And my proteins were leaking so badly, it was major. I mean, the one doctor had told me that I was going to be on a kidney dialysis machine for the rest of my life, and that there was no turning back.
What do you think turned around the dialysis need for that?
Raw food, raw organic vegan foods have supplemented with juicing. Now, with this said, if you look it up in the medical profession, you'll find that when the kidneys are leaking proteins, once that starts happening, it is irreversible. You cannot turn back the clock.
That's in the medical literature.
That is what the doctor told me.
What is your subjective experiential conclusion?
Yeah, well, those are big words. I don't understand them, but I do know what happened.
What's your experience with...
Good, cool. Yeah, my experience with that was, in 11 months, I went from kidneys leaking proteins so badly in my system, they had told me it would never reverse, and I was going to end up on a kidney dialysis machine, to I have no kidneys leaking. And here's the interesting thing.
In how amount of time?
11 months flat.
Okay.
11 months flat. Now, I believe when I did the first interview with you, because I did not understand everything, we were living our lives, I said that it was retinal failure, I think I called it, which is actually for the eyes. And they had
renal.
Yeah, it's renal, but I did not have, I need to make this clear, I did not have renal failure. I had the other word that's leaking, and they said it was going into renal failure, but I didn't understand all that. And I apologize about that. And in my book, I actually state that. And I show the stuff where all the stuff where the kidneys are leaking here, and then there's no kidney proteins leaking at all. This stuff that's supposedly impossible to reverse. And the really incredibly amazing thing about that was that I just went back this last February, and this was like almost 2.5, 3 years ago, guys. I went back this February and had my blood checked. Still no kidneys leaking proteins into my blood system at all. I'm sorry, no proteins leaking from my kidneys into my blood system. And the amazing thing to me about this is that it's irreversible. You can't stop it.
That's what the medical profession says.
Correct. And I was on drugs like lisinopril and some other heavier drugs that supposedly coat the kidney so that it helps to stop the proteins from leaking into the blood system, trying to slow the problem down. And guess what? When I took that test 11 months later, I wasn't on the lisinopril. I wasn't on any of my medicines for any of my kidney problems. Not only was I not on, at 6 months, well, let me go through this chronologically,
Yeah.
okay?
Diabetes too?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Chronologically, for the first 3 months of experimenting with raw foods, I was still dying. I was very sick because I was still ingesting a lot of sugar into my blood system. Someone had told me that you can eat as much sugar as you want as a diabetic, and because it's natural sugar, it doesn't affect the diabetic. That's wrong. That's incorrect. That's a fallacy. I'm here to state that emphatically. Now, what I'm not going to say is that something like what Dr. Doug Graham is doing. I have met 2 people in their 20s that are on his diet that are no longer taking type 2 medications for type 2 diabetics. But what I am saying emphatically is that if you're mixing fats, oils, and everything else into a hodgepodge, and you have diabetes, and you're eating like a friggin' half a watermelon a day, you're going to be pretty screwed up unless you're on a specific type of diet. So anyway, the bottom line is, once I discovered juicing, I juiced for 4 days. On my first juice feast, it was actually 6, I started throwing up. I had to stop. I eventually ended up doing a 4-month juice feast. But in 4 days, I was no longer on my diabetic medication. In 4 days, my blood sugars went from like 360, 380, whatever it was, all the way down to 75, and it just hoovered there. Just hoovered.
Dave,
yeah.
There's a lot of new people here. What was your top weight?
My top weight was 400, well, I say approximately 430 pounds. That was probably, actually I was a little bit heavier than that, but I can't say that I lost that from raw organic vegan. I believe at one point I was around 450, but at the time that I went raw organic vegan, and I happened to be at a doctor's office, and it was just like maybe a week before, and I was at 431 pounds.
Okay, so I just wanted everyone to know, can I ask you how much you're at now?
It's right, I'm somewhere between 200 and 220. In the first 1 year and 3 months, I lost 230 pounds flat. In the first 90 days, I lost 100 pounds.
On raw organic vegan food?
That's correct, without juicing. I lost 100 pounds.
Without juicing?
Without juicing, that was just raw. But my pancreas was still screwed up.
Right.
When I started juicing, weight came off very quickly, but also my blood metabolism, things started to change.
Yes.
In my cellular structure, my lymphatic system started cleaning out like you would not believe. And when I say I did a 4-month juice feast, let me just explain this to you guys. I got so sick on the juiced green juice that I threw up on the 6th day. And I couldn't do it anymore. And so I went to Dr. Gabriel Cousins' Rainbow Green Live Food Cuisine for diabetics, which is also good for weight loss, tip hint. And I just ate the food in that, but I was a truck driver. I'm not going to be able to make the food in that, right? They got dehydrated foods, I got this, you got that. So what I did was I was like, excuses are useless, man. I'm dying here. I got to do something. What am I going to do? I could only do 4 months of the juice feast, but I watched my blood sugars go from the 360 to 380 all the way down to 75 in 4 days and not return.
On green juice?
On green juice, just dark green leafy vegetable juice in a base of cucumber and celery. No apples, no carrots, no roots. I am talking ultra low glycemic juice dieting, excuse me, which by the way I just trademarked that word, and I'm writing a book about called the ultra low glycemic diet. But anyway, yeah, so that was just from juicing. And then what I realized was, this is really just to tell you guys how it is, you know. I ate raw food for 3 or 4 days, and then the next juice feast I did it till, because I mean I was throwing up when I smelled the juice. At one point I was throwing up when I saw a salad. Ask Dave and Yuta, they were with me when that was going on. And but anyway, so then I was like, I ate raw food for 3 or 4 days. And then I felt like, well, I think I'm calmed down from this. I made a little juice and just kind of smelled it, tasted it. I was like, okay, I can do this again. So, and I was making juice by the gallon, guys. I was making 3 gallons of juice a day because I was drinking on my juice feast 1 gallon a day of dark green.
3 gallons of juice a day, everyone, get that. You cannot drink too much green juice.
You can never drink too much green juice.
No, I've never heard of it ever happening.
Yeah.
15 years of juicing every day, so.
Absolutely, yeah.
The more the better, in my opinion.
In my opinion, too, that's what I tell people. Actually, if you're going for a long period of time, there is a concern for your caloric intake. What David Ranashek found out, and he wrote the book on juice feasting, in Dr. Gabriel Cousins International, I'm sorry, just got off an event. In his There Is a Cure for Diabetes, David Ranchek wrote the section on juice feasting for it. And what they found is that 12 to 15 pounds of vegetables pre-juiced, and then you're going to get your caloric intake. There's another way that the raw food doctor talked about how you can get it too. And if you go to dayofjuicefeasting.com and you watch the event, it was live streamed. Dan the Man was there with me, my brother Dan, and you can see how to break that down.
Where's that again?
That's at dayofjuicefeasting.com.
Cool, man. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was
and
incredible.
There's a lot of great stories
too.
A lot of information.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, my second juice feast lasted 7 or 8 or 9 days. I wasn't counting. It's like when you and me were doing this, you know what I'm saying, Dan? It's not like we're making records, also we're keeping track of nothing. We're just having
drinking
fun.
wheatgrass.
We were drinking
48 ounces.
Yeah, wheatgrass juice. We were down in coconuts, man. When Dan and I met, this girl that is now a manager at Chocolate Canyon, she goes, "You guys haven't met? You don't know each other?" We're like, "No, we've never seen each other." She just turned around and go, "Dan, this is Dave. Dave, this is Dan." Then she looked at me and said, "My work here is done," and she left.
That was crazy, yeah.
Yeah, and Dan and I became best friends, man.
Here we are, dude.
Yeah.
So we just got like a minute left, bro. So we just want to encourage everyone, raw, organic, vegan, for the healing.
Yes,
Things are always going to change. Don't get stuck in a rut.
You got it.
Just educate the hell out of your mind and go with your heart, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? If you're thinking about trying this, what Dan and I would encourage you to do is try it. And if you're like, "Oh, I gotta have some meat," you know what? Eat 10% of meat. Just stay away from the dark, fatty stuff. And then the goal is to get off all the meat, to try getting to that point. But start with something.
You gotta move yourself off. Yeah, and it's good to have some raw gourmet to start. Keep
I agree. When I found out about raw organic vegan restaurants, when I rocked into Giuliano's restaurant in downtown Santa Monica, Planet Raw, I sat down and tasted that food, and because I told David, I don't think I can do this. It's vegetables, apples, and nuts all day. And they took me there. I instantly knew in my heart I could do this. I just had to find a raw food restaurant to get to once a week. That's all I needed. And I was used to eating at Morton's Steakhouse twice a week. You know? So
food with enzymes that isn't heated.
Yes.
And then it digests and it energizes the cells in your body, and you can begin to gain life.
And Dan, you and I are going to have some fun, my brother, because I just had the world's most powerful Carillion camera built. And it's in Seattle. It just got up here today, and we're going to be playing around with it and doing all kinds of fun stuff.
Taking some pictures of food.
Oh yeah, all kinds of pictures of food.
Is there anything you want to say to my friends and yours, Dave, here on YouTube?
Just know that I love you, that Dan loves you, and that ultimately what this is all about is I experienced this thing, I call it exploding love. But the bottom line is that we can talk about nutrition all we want, we can talk about a lot of things, but where this is all going, it's about love, learning how to love other people. And where does that really start? It starts with wanting to help other people. Just help other people. That's where it all starts.
Yourself, taking care and loving yourself.
Absolutely.
I find that to be one of the biggest challenges.
Well, yourself is there. If you can't love yourself, you can't love somebody else.
Yeah.
Powerful lesson to learn.
Amen, Dave. Thanks a lot, man. I hope that some people got inspired. You're always an inspiration. I mean, tons of weight loss, every disease known to man almost eliminated, and it looks like you're just going to keep going strong.
Well, I'm going to keep going strong. I've created an infomercial company called Getting the Word Out Productions. I've created a webinar company. I've created a book company, a publishing company called Getting the Word Out Media. And we're doing some things, and it's all going to involve helping others come with us to publish their works, to help get the word out. And then hopefully it'll help others create either a sustainable income or a supplemental income. But that's the idea, and it's not really even about creating the income. It's that I recognize that there's a need for us to exist in the world around us. Whether I like it or not, this is the society I live in, and I need to do something to have a roof over my head, to do this, to do that. That's all. I'm not talking about making millions of dollars here. I'm just talking about getting the word out.
Well, we need to take money from the organizations that are killing us and putting it into organizations that we're creating to bring us to life.
I am so down with that.
We invest in pharmaceutical stocks so that we can open up raw food restaurants. There doesn't need to be an issue anymore.
Right.
Money is a very, very useful tool. Try digging a hole with a toothpick. You know what I mean?
got it, bro.
Money is the greatest tool that we have in this world, and if we have a good intention, then we're going to need that doja to make these DVDs to slam blast this information, which to me, I can sum it up in 3 words: fruits, vegetables, love.
And I can sum my experience up in 3 words too: raw, organic, and I don't have another son, though, vegan.
Yeah, dude, I love it.
Yeah.
3 words is all it takes to change your life.
From Dan and Dave, 3 words that can change your life.
Cool. Thank you very much, Dave. Where can they go to your fan page on Facebook?
You can go to Dave Conrady on Facebook. There's still some room left if you want to join my Facebook. That's Dave Conrady on Facebook. And then I just launched a new website yesterday. It's DaveTheRawFoodTrucker.com. Again, that's DaveTheRawFoodTrucker.com.
Dave, you're an inspiration to many, many people. Hey, Natea, how you doing, baby?
Good.
I'm out there to join you.
You should come dance with us.
I'm coming out to dance right now.
Dan is going to dance with his beautiful daughters. I cannot interrupt that, guys.
Peace.
Peace out.